And the Future in Review conference chooses a number of FiReStarters, early stage companies who are have a good chance of changing the world. And today I have a chance to interview David Perryman from Zirus Inc. Zirus Inc. is a virus research platform. Tell me about the platform and what you're trying to do.
Okay. The platform relates to viruses in completely new ways to address viruses. The problem with viruses is that certain types of them mutate all the time. And so we can't create robust vaccines for a lot of things. AIDS occurred 30 years ago. There's no good effective vaccine. Common cold, there is no cure, there is no therapy. Ebola emerges, SARS comes out, H1N1, and we don't really have solutions. The only thing relative to vaccines is a reactive solution, which we just saw with swine flu. 6 months later, we finally had something. If that had been highly lethal, we would have had a big problem. So Zirus is a new way to address that. It's sort of the third leg of this stool for fighting viruses. Vaccines, traditional drugs that bind onto the virus, but the virus mutates often around those. We go inside the cell. We have a technique called the gene trap. That's a patented technique discovered at MIT and at Vanderbilt University, applied to viruses. And that allows us to find the machinery that the virus hijacks in order to reproduce itself inside our cells. So once we find that, we then turn and we match that up with, well, these are human genes. What drugs have been made to these genes for, say, other reasons? So high blood pressure, headaches, things like that. And then we can say, well, we know we found, if you will, the secret sauce in the cell that the virus needs. Let's use these known medications, jumpstart the process to have meaningful, proactive drugs.
So essentially what you're doing is working around the virus, looking at what the virus attacks, and then investigating what it is the virus attacks and trying to change that, find out what is able to resist it, what is not able to resist it, enhance what resists,
right. Well,
and so on, yes?
Yeah, think of it like a factory. The cell is the factory the virus has to exploit, to hijack. It's this small, is it living, is it non-living thing. It can't reproduce without our factory and our cells. And so we find the key parts of the factory that if we block them, the virus can't reproduce itself. And so that's a big deal in terms of this whole concept of, you know, the virus creating resistance to the drug, because it's one step removed from what the drug normally interacts with in the virus.
And so where is Zirus Inc. at this point in terms of developing therapies, what's coming next? Where are you going with this over the next 6 months, 12 months, 18 months?
Well, we've got things going on in multiple areas. We've got flu and the common cold are two main areas. We also have a relationship with NIH and biodefense, because if you can imagine the threat of bioterror, if it's something completely unknown, then you can't make a vaccine to it or a drug to it. But if that thing that would be designed to kill us has to go inside the cell and reproduce, then we block that there. So those are three of the major areas that we're dealing in right now. So we've taken the platform, so finding the genes and proteins in our cells that are essential for viral replication, and then we've matched some up with drugs and we've started to test them. So for flu and the rhinovirus, the cause of the common cold, we have some very exciting, it's early, but we have some very exciting data that seems to be proving out that platform that you can block viruses in this new way.
Well, the key criteria for being selected as a FiReStarter at the Future in Review conference is to be doing something that has the potential to make a significant difference in the world, and it sure sounds like you're going to do that. Thank you, David.
We hope so.